We are live. Welcome, 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 everyone, to edition, your latest edition to Everything Real Estate Podcast with your host, Maurice Muhammad from a Torchlight Real Estate Academy, a Torchlight Realty, Progressive Realty. We are here today with our special guest, Mr. Derrick Luckett. Um, and he's going to share with you some of his experience, strength, and hope. He is a man of many hats. He's going to share with us. We are sharing lately information to the community and to the public based on the COVID pandemic. And we're expressing hope for individuals, salespersons and those that may have some fears and maybe absent, maybe apprehensive about what's going on and dealing with this time that we're in. We're in troublesome times. We air Everything Real Estate Podcast is a podcast for the community, for the public. And our intention is to share value with you and give you information so that you can come and bring your questions, bring your real estate questions, and anything that you have real estate related, you can bring it here and get it answered. So with that out the way, I would like to bring on Derrick Luckett. He can tell us about who he is, and he's with Destiny 6 Financial, Mortgage, and Real Estate Company. And Derrick, the floor is yours. Let us know who you are and what you do. Share your experience and hope.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you for everything that you're doing. I think by you having this platform to let them know exactly what's good in real estate is a blessing to the community and across the nation as well. I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Derrick Luckett. I'm the owner of Destiny 6 Financial, Mortgage, and Real Estate. We do everything here from credit to keys. We take care of everything. We help a person get into a property. We educate them on it. I am also a branch manager for HUD agency, which is an ID. I am the founder of the local chapter for the Realtist, which is the Black Real Estate Professionals. I'm the local chapter here in San Diego. And on a national scale, I am the National Mortgage Lending Chair Committee. So I chair that committee. So we got quite a bit of information we can help you with. I'm also a business entrepreneur. I own the real estate, the mortgage, and we also own a daycare center. I've owned several barbershops, a restaurant. So I'm pretty knowledgeable about some stuff. So that's who I am. So you tell me what you want me to talk about, and I'm all yours, Maurice.
So can you tell us, the name of your business you gave us? So what do you do? So what do you do? What's your day to day? What do you do in your business? And, what do you do? You do mortgages and everything, mortgages, you do barbershop, you do. So what's your day to day like now in light of the pandemic and everything's going? Because I know in our state, real estate is not an essential business. Our property management business is, but real estate, we're not recognized as an essential business. So can you share any tips with those that, as it relates to with COVID-19 and everything right now based on?
Well, based on your question, I think there's a couple of things that we have to get a little clarity on. For you're not essential in
Pennsylvania.
Where you at, Maurice?
In Pennsylvania.
Oh,
we're essential in New Jersey.
We're essential in New Jersey. We're
right.
Essential here in California as well.
Gotcha.
So at first we were not. About a week went by and we were. Okay. So my day-to-day is a little bit different. My day-to-day is still getting up early in the morning before daylight pretty much and figuring out what all I got to do and getting prepared. But what that also means is, I can be prepared but not be prepared because you never know what phone call you're going to get in our business. But if I were to say on a norm, I am basically looking for financing for families that are looking to either refinance or purchase. I may be looking at someone's credit report that day to see what we need to have them to do to be able to qualify. I may be looking for properties for someone. So that day it's a full day when you finish doing all those things. And that's normally my day to day. Anything else is going to be added to that. Of course, it's
Gotcha.
in there somewhere. But the main thing is that I normally get up thinking about other people, trying to figure out how do I make this happen for them and their dreams, making their dreams a reality.
Absolutely. So that being the question, so what is for a person that may be interested in getting qualified and purchasing a home, what does that look like for them? Is that, what does that look like for them right now in the
Okay.
climate? Are you seeing any
In this climate, sure.
yeah, in this climate?
Okay. Well, in this climate, Maurice, you have to look at that. One of the things that they're doing, the banks are tightening up. They want to make sure that people are able to afford to repay the money that they're borrowing. They want them to be employed. They're going to check now, even if the day before they close, they're going to check and make sure you're still employed all the way to the last minute. One thing that they're doing also is changing credit scores. They're moving the guidelines where it was you can get in a house with a 580 or a 620. Now, some of the major banks, such as Wells Fargo, Chase, they're moving scores now to 700. You got to be over 700.
Facts.
Some of them are eliminating the down payment assistance programs and saying you got to come in with 20% down. So that's going to rule out a huge population of people. And that population, most of those people will look like you and I, because it's hard for us to come up with that 20% down. So theoretically, it sounds good from them, from their side, I guess, to make sure that people are paying. But on our side, we have to look at it from the angle of how many Black homeowners will we be able to help get into properties because of that scoring model. Because we have the least, we earn the least amount of income. We're not in the prime jobs to help us out on that. You got your systemic racism is still in place. So we got a lot of moving parts that we don't like to talk about, but I have to talk about them because if I'm going to help a family, we need to know the good, the bad, and the ugly of their credit, because that's what it's really based on, and their ability to repay. So with this COVID-19 out there, that's a major thing that could be a hindrance because of that change, because you're not able to get out and look at properties. It can hurt people even in the real estate and mortgage industry, especially if they're considered as non-essential.
Wow. Yeah. So you touched on a couple of things, one being the had that experience, had a deal that stopped, and because of the industry, the buyer had changed the industry. So before the lender was comfortable with moving forward with lending, they wanted to see 30 days of work history for the new job. So normally in that normal case, that type of a deal would not have been affected because it was continuous employment. It wasn't affected. They just changed industries and they just changed, but they're continuously working. But now in this climate, specifically because of what's going on, the lender decided, well, not only are we going to we're going to hold up the loan, we're going to wait and see. We need to see 30 days of consistency, that they're able to. So to your point, that's definitely affecting us here, in the same way. You mentioned systemic, racism as it relates to mortgages. We definitely know that. That's why we do, what we do. How do you see that in California? Because tickets prices are a little different than here. Higher price points in California.
Okay, you're saying how do I see? Ask me again. I'm so sorry.
No.
It went out for a moment.
So how do you see that affecting more on the mortgage side? Because you're in a unique position. You do mortgages and real estate. So how do you see that
That's
as
right.
affecting us as Black and brown as it relates to mortgages?
Well, as I stated, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, and especially out here because different counties have a different price points as to where how high they'll go on the property values, not meaning on loan amounts. So some of those loan amounts are already restricted. San Diego, the average price of a home out here, the median price is about $600,000. That is the median price for a home. So that makes it that much more difficult for people to be able to buy and afford a home out here. So we have to come up with different ways, and some of those ways can be good and utilized everywhere because we in such a price point area. One of the things that I've talked to some families about doing is to create a family plan Maybe two of you can live together and buy a property. Take the equity off of that property later on and split up and go buy your own individuals, but you start earning some equity right away. So we have to come up with different ways, make it a partnership agreement so that you can write it off. Both of you can write the interest off on your taxes, and share all together. In the equity, the cost of it, the management of it. You learn how to manage a home, then you turn around and go your separate ways because you can split that equity at that point, and then you can do your own thing. But we have to get a little bit more creative. Are we having problems here on getting folks in homes? We do, because of the affordability, because there's a different thing. One is housing affordability, and the other one is affordable housing. We have both of those issues. So yes, we have issues. Yes, we try to work through them. And yes, we have to be a little bit more creative when it comes to some of these folks getting in homes.
So what do you see as creative financing strategies and tips that you see that in your area? Because you mentioned a valid point that they could work every day, not only will work there, but they can work in other places. So creative financing tips or financing scenarios that work that you see working to make home ownership a reality.
Okay, well, one of the things is pretty much what I just shared with you. Let's say a mother and daughter, they already live together. They're renting together. Both of them are already renting together, or maybe you have someone. Let me use. I'm gonna say stick with the mother and daughter, but here was the situation. The daughter lived in Texas. The mother lived in San Diego. Mother was renting a property. The daughter fell off of a ladder. She injured herself. She had a brain injury. The mother inherited the daughter, bringing her in to take care of her, to help her with her stuff. So they're both now renters they're renting a house. So what I did was had a conversation with them, because the mother had not owned the house she was renting, as I stated, and they ended up buying a house together. They both moved in. Her son moved in to help them both out. The mother is 74 years old. The daughter's 50 years old. And her son is 26 years old. So we got 3 generations in one home. So I will say that was a plan that they didn't see. And the mother cried. She was so excited that she was able to buy her very first home at 74 years old. Wow. So those are the type of things that we're able to do if we strategize, if we figure it out, and we know we want ownership. Because ownership, again, that's generational wealth. Now it can go to the 50-year-old, it can go to the 26-year-old, and it can stay in that family if they strategize and do it the right way. But one of the main things I'll share with you, Maurice, is to make sure that everybody understands that they need to put it in a trust. The home needs to go into a trust. And that's something we don't talk about a lot. Absolutely. Because we don't understand it. We weren't educated by our parents, or our parents wasn't educated by theirs. But they have to take that property out of their name and put it in a trust. Because if it's not, then something happens. Then that house actually can go to the state for determination as to what needs to be done. Because now you got to take it to the probate courts. Right. Now the money is getting eaten up. The equity is getting eaten up. So that's one of the tips I will share. I think that's an important tip.
Time. That's valuable tip. So, yep. If I know you're not a trust attorney and that's not your business, but if you can share just a little bit more about what a trust is,
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Well, the trust is essentially you speaking to say, and again, I'm not an attorney. It's just what I've seen it do. It prevents you from having to go to court. It tells your family, it's almost you speaking to your family from the grave, because it's the conversation you never had with someone. You're saying, if something happens to me, I bank at this bank. Here's the account numbers. If I worked at this job, I have a 401k. Make sure you get my 401k. Make sure you do this. And it leaves them the legal right to do that, because you're going to leave an heir in charge, someone who you know is responsible. You may raise all your kids the same, or the parent may raise all the kids the same, but it doesn't mean they're all have that same level of responsibility or that same level of business. So you have to figure out who's the most reliable, who would follow your wishes to a T, and make sure that the other children get what they have entitled to them, inherited to them from your words that you leave documented. The house should be in there. Your bank account should be in there. Your retirement should be in there. Even if you have paid off vehicles, that too should be in there. So now you're given instruction as to what needs to be done from the grave. Now, if they don't have that, then the state steps in and they name an administrator. They'll say this person shows the burden of proof that he or she was entitled to be in charge, and here's why. But then you got the battle amongst the kids. At that point, everybody's fighting to be in charge of the state. So I think that, if you can hear the words that's coming out of my mouth right now, go get your trust. It's about $1,200 to $1,500, but it's well worth it because it's going to save your family thousands of dollars versus $1,200 to $1,500.
Wow, highly valuable. Thank you for that. So now, for those that might say, "Well, what about a will? If I do a will, can I do a will? Or is a trust better? What's the difference between a trust and a will? Or if I,
Well, a will is what you were willing to do in a sense. That's the way I see it. This
Nice.
This is what I wanted to do. But a will can be contested.
Gotcha.
A will can be contested by anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So the stronger one that I've seen work, and I'm only speaking off of experience of what I've seen work. I have not seen a will work. What I have seen work is the trust. And most of my clients, I always advise them on it, whether they take my advice or not. I advise them on it. I ask them right off the bat, who's your most responsible child, to make sure that this is distributed possible, the way it should be. Or they can be you can name two. If you want two people to be successor trustees, you can name that. But bottom line is that if you don't plan on passing that property down, that property, you can name in there all property, but you have to be precise when it comes to your home. You have to say, I want this property located at this address with this parcel number named in the trust. So if it's not, it doesn't mean all property, because that's a big to do. And then they're still fighting over it.
Nice. Good stuff. So it's safe to say that in the will, this is what I'm willing to do. But in the trust, you can trust that this is what I'm going to do. What's going to happen.
Right. You can trust I wrote it down and it's in words and it's in legal terminology. That's what that trust is.
Gotcha.
Now, not that a will won't be honored, but you got to make sure it is honored. You may have to get an attorney involved still to make sure it's involved. You know what I'm saying? So when you've already done the trust part of it, you may not have to go through all of those expenses. Again, I am not an attorney. I'm telling you what I've seen work and what I advise for my clients because I know that it works.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that, man. So we have a question from Carlton H. Brown Sr. He says, can you explain California PEAD for showing property? Is that, you know what that is about California?
Yeah, that is the COVID-19 real estate form. They've created forms that says that the client needs to be prepared when they go out into a home because of the COVID-19. It said it's almost a disclaimer too. It kind of says you're entering at your own risk. The seller knows you're coming in. The seller signs documents. You have your buyer to sign documents before they go out and view the property. So everybody's aware. It's just full disclosure. And again, these are forms that are California specific. So I don't know if this is going to help your other people on another across the nation, but in California, that's a required form during the COVID-19. And
there's California people on here, so that he may be from California. Yeah.
He is. That's our local board president.
Oh,
that's our local board.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. Carlton, thanks for tuning in. Yep. And there's your website there for. Yep. So if you want to, since we're on that note, do you want to mention anything on NAREP and how?
Well, yeah. Well, NAREP, first and foremost, NAREP has been around a very, very long time. NAREP is the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, and it was born out of a need. The need was because African Americans were not allowed to be realtors back in 1947. So since they weren't allowed to be realtors, we created our own, and we sued for the right to be called realtist. And so we are realtist. There's realtors. I am a realtor also, but I am mainly a realtor's inside out. Okay. And simply what that means is because we fight for more than just property rights of owners. We fight for uh, property rights for all. It's democracy and housing. So that covers a wide range of territory, everything from making sure you have a decent place to live, meaning fair housing, fair lending. We fight for the laws of housing legislation to make sure that we are protecting everyone who needs housing, whether it's homeless or whatever the case may be. We try to think of the individual that's residing in the property.
Nice. Thank you for that share. Um, so can you tell us what is it? What's your secret sauce? What works? What makes it? What's your secret sauce? What makes your business work? What make it work for you? What do you do that's different? That's
Well, you know what? First of all, when you
pardon the slang.
yeah, well, I understand what you're saying. The bottom line is that each and every day, I think we have to be committed to the cause.
Right.
We have to be committed to the cause of taking care of our families. We have to be committed to the cause of taking care of what's important to other families as well, because we're in a real position of where they're looking for us for guidance and housing. So I get up every day, just like whether I'm on a Saturday or Sunday, and I try to do the best I can do that day. Whether it is helping someone to locate a property, whether it's helping someone to get their credit in order, whether it's helping somebody who need a pair of shoes and I got an extra pair, those type of things is what we have to do as an individual. I think a lot of it, the secret sauce is giving, the giving part, what you can do for kindness. Kindness shouldn't have a cost associated with it if you're doing it from the heart. If you're doing it because you're expecting something back or you're looking for something to brag about because you did it, then that's not a secret. Everybody knows who you are and know what you're doing. But if you're trying to do it from the heart, they can see that also.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of stuff that I'm supposed to be charging people for, I don't. And maybe I'm losing out that way. But I give so many other rewards in so many other different ways that it's working. So I wouldn't call it a secret sauce. I'll just call it the gift of life and sharing that gift of life with somebody and making sure that you leave them in a better position than when you met them.
Nice. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's about, giving. We're practicing Ramadan now in this month, and it's my favorite time of the year because it's opportunity you can give, and it's a time to share. That whole month is dedicated to giving, and you know, I'm grateful for this opportunity to give in this information because sharing in food is not only, the act of gift, but the word and helping others to be successful and what's more important is the guidance and being able to give some guidance, offer some guidance to those that are striving to get some real estate done. So do you see this as your calling?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I just to give you some heads up, I guess I was getting prepared and didn't know it because I grew up in Chicago.
Wow.
And I was an insurance agent in Chicago for many years, and that's why I started off in the sales business. And I was working in the projects. I had all of the projects for my area. I was selling life insurance and collecting the insurance premiums. So I was blessed to never get robbed. I was blessed to never have any issues while I was there. And I had some guardian angels to help look over me to make sure I wasn't getting robbed, get mugged. Because every day I was walking with $2,000-$3,000 in my pocket of collection premiums.
Wow.
The mothers inside of the projects helped to watch over me. And it humbled me to people because I found a lot of good people in bad situations.
Yeah.
And so, I think this is my calling because if not, God would have changed my direction a long time ago. And I'm still in the people business 30 plus years later. So I think this is my calling.
Nice. Thanks for that. What would you like your legacy to be?
Well, I think I would like for my legacy to be for my children to be able to, whatever I leave them behind, to be worthy to them so that they can continue on and live on and live a good, comfortable life. My son has been working with me for about 15 years. He works here in the office with me on a daily basis. That's a blessing to me to see him in it. I have a couple of daughters that are doing their own thing. One's an attorney. I have, altogether, I raised a total of 6 boys and 2 girls, because I also raised my brother's 4 sons when they were young. I raised them to be men that they are. So I look at my legacy is my kids, all of them. My legacy is my strength and wisdom that I get every day that I try to give to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's my true legacy right there. I'm done. I got a lovely wife too that I've been married to about 37 years.
Beautiful.
So I couldn't do any of that without her. So
Wow.
that's my.
Thank you, man. That's the good stuff. That's a good thing. So you want to give your information as to how anyone want to contact you and they want to utilize your services, how they can get a hold of you?
Absolutely. I'm licensed in the state of California. My phone number where I can be reached is area code 619-825-9560, 619-825-9560. And again, that is my office number. My email address is Destiny6Financial. That's DESTINY 6 spelled out SIX financial at gmail.com. Destiny6Financial@gmail.com.
Thank you for that, sir. And I just wanted to ask you one question. As individuals and we're in uncertain times. Do you have any tips? You've been a serial entrepreneur. You've been doing this for a long time. Do you have any tips that you could provide for those that may be having to start over right now, or just don't know what to do, or in a place where, hey, my job they're not sure if the job is coming back and they have to start over. Any suggestions that you can offer,
Yes.
for someone that
I would say, Maurice, I mean, that's a great question, and no one's asked that question, but I always say find your talent. Work on something you already know. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, because the idea is to get back and get up and running right away. But first, establish who you are.
Nice.
Establish who you are in business. Meaning, are you gonna be doing? If you're gonna be self-employed, are you going to be using your own social security number? Or are you going to get your federal tax ID number so that it can have its own ID? Or are you going to be independent contractor? Either way, you want to have some type of business format going. So if you are interested in becoming a business owner, the first thing I would look at is what's my strengths? What's my strengths, and build on those strengths. You don't have time to reinvent the wheel. You got to get paid. So go on what you know. And I would say, even if you're not, I'm not going to say if you're not legal yet, but if you know how to do it and make money, make your money and pay for your licensing, get your right requirements in place, but you got to do what you have to do to get started. It's not easy, and no one ever gave me a roadmap to how to open up my businesses. I learned through the School of Hard Knocks. I probably got 3 degrees in it, okay, because there's none of it I went to school for. But you live, you learn, you pay for your education, and I think I've paid enough. So it's all good. But what I would encourage anybody to do, if you have a dream of being a business owner, don't dream about it. Make it happen.
Nice.
It can be done.
It can be done. Thank you for that, man. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you taking the time out.
Yeah.
Sharing your experience, strength, and hope. And we're hoping that I know that that our listeners will be able to get something out of what you shared. I know I've taken away some things from it as we're doing some things, as we're looking to do more things and create this podcast to go and be able to assist those that can utilize it and benefit from it. So I want to thank you for your time. We have about 60 seconds, well, a minute left, 2 minutes. Would you like to share any parting words?
Yes, I would like to say thank you so much for having me, Maurice. I would be welcome to come back anytime. No, I'd be grateful. I'd be grateful if you asked me back again.
Good,
I think
I will.
is that as much information as we can give to the communities in which we work in, the
Yes.
better off it is. It's
Yes.
better for them, and it's better for you too.
Yeah.
You are very knowledgeable, very educated, very smart. So they should be calling you on your end. Call me on my end.
Right.
We'll
Right.
have national thing covered, okay?
Right.
But
That's
if there's anything that I can ever do to help to be informative, I'm here for you.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. God bless. And we are